a runaway train, hauling to your heart.
So Eric, it's the first time that you're playing here at the Rother Bluestage?
Yes, my first time, but this is a famous festival, so I'm very happy to be here.
So you took away my next question. Have you heard about it?
Oh yeah. Yes, I've heard about it. You know, there's a pretty long tradition of celebrating blues in this part of the South. You know, so I'm happy to be a part of it.
Would you ride my mother? Tell her to shape I'm in. Oh, tell her to pray for me. Forgive me for all my sins.
You sold more tickets than Mick Taylor did.
Yeah.
Is it a kind of an appreciation of your work?
I think that's a good indication, you know. Putting bodies on seats is the name of the game, and I think, fortunately, I've had some very good press here in Germany. The latest record has been reviewed very positively, and I think it's a question of accumulation, you know. You keep going year after year, and it slowly builds up, and people talk, they tell their friends, so I'm very happy about that.
I was a little bit surprised when I came in here and saw 3 people on stage. Mm-hmm. You're mainly known for the last years doing mainly solo shows.
Yes, I am happy to play with my wonderful musicians, Larry Crockett on drums, Trevor Hutchinson on bass. We also have a quartet with a wonderful guitar player, Staffan Assner from Sweden. I think people know me for my solo work, and because I can perform as a soloist, I think that's often a nice contrast to bigger bands, so festivals like to hire me as a soloist. But, you know, it gets lonely sometimes, so I like to have some company up there. The latest CD is just with a harmonica player, and I've been touring with him as well, and really enjoying that. But very nice to be here with my trio.
For my watch, a pocket for my silver flask, one for my wallet, with family photographs. My favorite pocket, yeah, you know the one I'm thinking of, is the pocket in my heart for your love. The pocket in my heart.
You mentioned the new CD, Booker's Guitar. Tell us the story of Bukka White's guitar.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. Some years ago, a fan came to me in England, and he said, "Thank you for your concert, Eric. And by the way, if you would be interested in playing the guitar that was owned and played for many years by the famous Booker White, also known as Bukka White, I could bring it to your hotel and you could have a look and have a little bit of a play on it tomorrow morning." And he showed up, and he took out this beautiful vintage National guitar, steel-bodied guitar, and I picked it up, and I saw on the side was a set list in Booker's handwriting that he had taped to the side of his guitar years ago, and I realized this is the same guitar that I see him in photos with, holding next to him, and I think, why me? That's great, you know. I felt really privileged, and it felt like a sign, like maybe it was time for me to really embrace my connection to this tradition, acoustic Delta blues tradition, write some new songs. I wrote a song about the guitar, and I got a chance to record that song with the guitar. So it's quite a wonderful story for me.
But I guess this fan, he kept the guitar, didn't give it to you?
He didn't give it to me. That was not on offer. He told me I can make it available to you whenever you need it, to record or whatever. And that was enough for me. It wasn't, it was more powerful than ownership. I didn't need to own that guitar. I just felt very privileged that it had come to me in a very natural way. And I felt for a reason, yeah.
you're an American, but playing in Germany and Europe for many years,
Yeah.
build a strong following. Does it make any difference touring the US, touring Europe?
Lately, I've been touring the States and Canada quite a bit, and I can say that there's less and less of a difference. I find that people who love this kind of music are quite similar wherever I am, whether it's Australia or Sweden, Finland, Canada. People know the music, they know the history, they appreciate it, they follow it, they know all the contemporary players, Guy Davis, Alvin Youngblood Hart. And I'm finding the world is becoming more small for me, and it feels very comfortable everywhere I am.
But it sounds that it was different some years ago.
Yes, you're right. I think, the United States is a very big place. I think there's a lot of big music business aspects that you have to find a way around or through. And I preferred for many years to be active in a smaller pond, swimming around happily with people who appreciated my music. But sooner or later, people got curious. They said, "Hey, who are you, man? You're American. Why don't you come home and play?" And I said, "Yeah, make me an offer." And they started coming in. And now I feel like it's picking up. It takes a much longer time to become known in the States. It's a bigger place. But it's working out, yeah.
You're coming from a quite musical family. Your father, Leon, is known over here too. He's coming from... he is doing more the folk way.
Yes.
Was it a conscious decision or whatever, as a son, going more the blues direction in the beginning?
Very good question. My dad was my first and remains my biggest hero. He's a trained singer, he sang on Broadway. He has a much more schooled voice than mine. I got involved with the blues music when I was quite young as a listener, and discovered that I had a natural connection to it. And as a guitar player, I think that may have been what the hook was. As a guitar player, I found that I had many people who were great influences and sources of inspiration. So it was natural for me to take the blues music that I had heard as a child. I'm talking about Leadbelly, Big Bill Brunsey, people who were active on the folk scene in New York, Reverend Gary Davis. I was able to add to that group of people some lesser known blues people that I came to know about in Europe. Many of the people that really became big influences were people who I really got to know better while living in Europe. People had great record collections. I had a friend who had a record store with beautiful pre-war blues collection. So you could say my connection to the acoustic pre-war blues tradition really deepened after I'd moved to Europe as a young man. Mm-hmm.
How long have you been living in Europe?
I was 20 years old when I started living in Sweden. You could say I've lived most of my adult life in Scandinavia, really, and traveled around Europe extensively since then. As I said, I've been working more in the States lately, and that feels good. But for many years, I really was more active here on this side of the Atlantic.